pharmaceuticals. But as we move on and as we talk about how India can be self-reliant or not, whether FCA is upbeat on the India ride, the consumption, whether that's going to return by the festive season or not, and FCA clearly seems to be riding the local for a vocal for local wave, that is. We chatted with Dr. Partha Dutta, the president and MD at FCA India, and here's an excerpt of that exclusive chat.
Firstly, it's been exciting, to say the least. When I came in, just 8 months back, it'll be a year in September. It's been quite the journey. And I wish I could have had a little more time to repatriate and reacquaint myself after 30 years out, coming back into the country and looking at how things are. But all I can say is there's only one direction now, up.
Good to know. And, I want to actually come to that straight away because you've been sounding very positive on the outlook, notwithstanding the current crisis. In fact, I don't think you've had any job losses here. You seem to be on track with your plans. So run us through really how you've managed the situation under lockdown.
Well, most important thing about during the lockdown and since has been the safety of the employees. I think that's the number one concern that any one of us in the auto industry has, including us here in FCA. We have made that the priority as we come out of the lockdown. As far as managing it is concerned, it hasn't been bed of roses. There's issues, but that's what we're here for, to solve those puzzles, right? We have essentially a whole series of actions, from making sure that the supply chain is being managed correctly, from making sure there's safety protocols in place in the plant, at the NSE, to make sure that working from home is seamless. And I keep engaged with the employees. So all of those activities together and the commitment to make sure that we're in this together is what has, compelled us that there have been no job losses, to make sure that as we restart and come back on, we're hitting the ground running. It's not a bed of roses, but we're managing through the situation.
Sure. So share with us your plans when you talk about hitting the ground running, in terms of new launches, in terms of building on the base that you already have here in India post the Compass and the demand that you saw for that particular model. What's next in line? The Trailhawk, of course, was a slightly more premium model. What are you going to be focusing on going ahead here in India?
So obviously, like you said, the Compass has been very well received. It's a phenomenal product. Customers are extremely happy with it. I think the brand has established in the psyche of the people as what it always has been, a reliable, everlasting brand. So to build on that, of course, there will be, we are in the works and actively pursuing a 3-row SUV, as we have mentioned in our Capital Markets Day announcement. We're also actively investigating a sub-4-meter SUV. 2 more iconic products will be coming to the showrooms. And all of this, Abha, in addition to a new Compass. So those plans are all in the works.
And what's the pricing that we're looking at here? I mean, are you also looking at entering the slightly lower segment, or are these all continuing to be slightly premium models?
Jeep as a brand is a premium brand, Abha. So we will, obviously, depending on the segment, be competitive. Yeah. And as we enter the different segments, the various segments, we will be competitive. But, as a brand, we've always been an aspirational brand, and, we will not, the brand will always continue to be that aspirational buy.
Do you still see demand for that, Partha, given the situation we're going through? On one hand, we're hearing good things about the recovery and that demand is intact, particularly when it comes to the auto space. But on the other hand, we are hearing that it may take a while for things to fully come back to normal. And perhaps the premium segment is one which could be more challenging.
Yeah, but you're right. There's no denying it. That, in a time like this, people and consumers tend to conserve their resources, right? So obviously, in the immediate aftermath, in the immediate future, it is absolutely clear that the value purchases will be the ones that will be predominant, right? And they will be the ones that will rebound faster. But that the aspirational car buying will always be an aspirational purchase, an emotional purchase. And we do see that the demand for the, premium products and the larger products even is there, and it will rebound. Yeah, I will have to say that it will rebound probably at a different rate and slightly slower than the entry-level segments.
Okay. The Compass in particular was or is being manufactured here in India. I want to also get your experience of manufacturing, of setting up, as a company here in India. And given the government's recent push on Atmanirbhar Bharat, what are the kind of numbers that you're already looking at, and what do you think they could grow to if we see, further emphasis on the Indian market?
So, but today, the Compass is a localized product, high percentage of localization components sourced here in India, and it's built here in the Ranjangaon facility. In fact, Abha, you'd be very interested to know that of all the plants that build the Compass in the world, the Indian Ranjangaon plant has the highest quality, the best Compass in the world comes out of Ranjangaon. So it is something that, I think our industrial colleagues and our team in Ranjangaon should be commended for, an absolutely fabulous product. And we've seen that also come out of the consumer side. I do see that, there are inherent advantages to continuing to increase that localization percentage in India. Obviously, as components are locally sourced and more percentage of that local sourcing adds to the being more cost competitive. And I think from a component manufacturer standpoint, Indian automotive components have now, are competitive the world over. And we can, I think, sustain and be competitive with any part of the world. That doesn't mean that there isn't areas for improvement. Of course, there's areas where we have to get better. And if we are competitive and we continue to improve on this, world-class engineering componentry and design, then we will be automatically Atmanirbhar.
Okay, so you also export the Compass from India, which is fantastic, to global markets. Would you as a company be looking at, when the time is right, perhaps investing more in manufacturing facilities here? Do you see that happening, for products, whether it be, for the Indian market or global markets?
Yes, Abha, to answer, very, very short answer is absolutely yes. And to give you a little more context on the absolutely yes, is the products, as they are brought in, like all the products that I mentioned to you, all of those products will be from Ranjangaon. And as we bring those products in, obviously there's going to be capital that will be needed to make them and to tool them up right here in Ranjangaon. And clearly those will be, adding to that infrastructure for building and manufacturing all of the products in our portfolio that we're bringing forward.
Okay, so strategically then, from what you're saying, and I think this is also important given the current global context and slowing growth everywhere, India does seem to be assuming more and more importance in the overall global strategy when it comes to Fiat Chrysler?
India has always been about an important part of the Fiat Chrysler strategy.
Yeah.
And from an export out of India to right-hand drive markets, yes, India will assume a more important role in FCA's global strategy from a right-hand drive supply. And as things move forward, clearly, as the business cases present themselves, who knows, it might be even more than that. And we are studying all of that.
What do you think we need more of, Partha? Do you feel we need more incentives on the policy front? Are there things that need to be addressed in order to overcome near-term challenges?
I think, yes, there are a couple of things, Abha, that would help. Certainly, scrappage bonus, for instance, which I think is already in the works. From a policy standpoint, something like that would essentially drive refreshing vehicles, getting that piece of the consumption going. And if there's added incentives on the liquidity and on the consumption side, to make it easier for people to purchase and get vehicles, that also adds to alleviating some of the concerns. Obviously, we can't predict the stock market today, but these are the two things that I feel will drive consumer behavior. Something like a scrappage bonus, a policy to help drive that, and increased liquidity in the markets.
Fantastic. Do you also see us benefiting from the current conflict with China? Do you see India emerging as the natural, more attractive option when it comes to foreign companies looking to set up here?
So, Abha, I'm going to answer this in two parts. I don't particularly feel that conflicts necessarily are always the way to get improvements going. So I really do hope that this conflict is behind us, and I do hope that both sides resolve it as soon as possible, with the safety of all of the people on the border. So I won't get into that piece. But India today has a very, very strong auto component industry, and I think our engineering standards are improving on every single day, and the auto component industry. We'll have to be competitive in the world. If we can maintain those global standards and the world-class manufacturing and engineering services which we do today, and if we continue to improve on it, absolutely, I think the sky's the limit. I don't see why we would not be a worthy competitor to anybody. Leave the conflict alone, right? We would have to stand in the end on the strength of our competitive product.
Okay. A couple of other aspects, Partha. Diesel and petrol now, prices almost at par. What's the kind of impact that's having on Fiat Chrysler as a company as well as the industry?
So, Abha, we have both powertrains to offer to our customers, both gasoline and diesel. So from a offering standpoint, there's really nothing from how it would affect Fiat Chrysler, because we cater to the demand and we have both sides. But it is true, to answer your other part of your industrial segment question, that yes, with the move of the prices in the diesel and the gasoline, I would say that the entry-level segments will see a marked shift towards petrol engines. And as you go to the more premium segments, you will probably continue to have a significant volume of diesels, because there people are looking both for performance and fuel economy on the more expensive and premium side, where I think customers will begin to make their purchases more on their lifestyle. Urban city, small cars will probably see a shift in the mix towards petrol engines. But from an FCA standpoint, we've got both. Our customers can choose, and we'll cater to whatever the demand is.
Okay, and in terms of numbers, what have the sales figures been like so far? What's the capacity utilization you currently have? We understand that this quarter, of course, may have been significantly different to what we saw last year. But where do we stand, and how do you see the trend going forward?
Yeah. So, Abba, I can't tell you some numbers. Obviously, good question, though. I will tell you that there are,
Sure.
from an industry standpoint, obviously, April was an unforeseen month in the entire auto industry's history, right? Not a single car sold for the first time. And then May, we began to come back. I think June, we're beginning to see growth up to twice in the segment. The segment's grown more than 2 times. So I think that all of those are portending a very good return, hopefully, by the Diwali or the festival season this year. We're going to see the excitement and the interest and the consumption come back. That's what I would say today is what I'm focusing on. And I'm excited. We've had, the industry has reacted really, really well to this, Abhay, from what I can tell. If you see, used to be we were a go to the showroom, look at it, but now the digital side of things has, suddenly, come up, and the industry has reacted so well to it. So I see around Diwali time is when we will begin to see consumption, some excitement in it again.